Today, we're diving into something different. This isn't just a document. It feels more like a myth, a dark parable. We're going to try and unravel the thinking behind what the source calls the sovereign architecture of the fourfold crossroads.
And right from the jump, the text just pulls us into its world. This isn't your average introduction. It's practically an incantation. You've got this scarlet eye of our new sun watching down as a many-footed something turns toward an ancient, jagged crossroads. I mean, that really sets the stage, doesn't it? This is about a massive journey, a very deliberate step out of one world and into another.
So where does a journey like this even begin? Well, our first section takes a look at that very departure point, a conscious, calculated move away from a place the text literally calls madness.
And look at this contrast here. It's so stark. The world being left behind isn't just a city. It's the bazaar, described as a ripening fruit of madness in the kingdom of the void. But the path forward? It's not some safe haven. It's the open road, a magnificent and dangerous distance. You see, this isn't about escaping to safety. It's about deliberately rejecting a reality that's seen as hollow for one that is raw, primal, and packed with danger.
The philosophy behind making this choice is called a gay science of the road, which points to a kind of joyful, life-affirming abandonment of old, stale morals. And here's the core belief. The true master, the ideal figure in this worldview, is never, ever static. They are always wandering, always moving toward the next great abyssal height.
Now, a journey like this demands a whole new doctrine, a new set of rules to live by. This guidebook for the dark pilgrimage, it's called the Vademecum of Scorn. The first core idea is anathema. And get this, the goal isn't to find the right path. No, the goal is to become the very thing that makes the compass of the righteous spin out of control. It's about embodying a paradox, becoming a living heresy that just scrambles the moral certainty of the old world.
So, if that's the external goal, what about the internal one? That's where synthesis comes in. This is the transformation you have to go through. It's about your spirit being hardened from a flickering candle, something weak, fragile, easily put out, into a cruel and sovereign beacon. And those words, cruel and sovereign, they're chosen for a reason. They suggest a kind of power that isn't nice, but it is absolute, self-ruling, and totally unyielding.
And this really puts it all together. The Vademecum of Scorn is the handbook for this whole philosophy. It's basically a collection of wisdom that's built on one thing: scorn for the safe paths that the pious and the weak have trodden into the dust. This is an active, almost aggressive rejection of normal morality, of tradition, of taking the easy way out. All right, so we've left the kingdom of the void, and we're armed with our Vademecum. But where are we actually going? This next section gets into the destination, the architecture of the crossroads. And believe me, it is so much more than just a place on a map. I mean, listen to that quote. It is just dripping with symbolism. The crossroads are the stitches of the world's shroud, the points holding the very fabric of reality, or maybe it's death, together. It's also a place of ultimate transformation, where you have to shed the last of your terrestrial shadows. This is a point of no return. The text actually gives the crossroads 4 distinct jobs. It's a threshing floor for the ancient foe, so a place for a massive confrontation. It's a surgical and unrepentant anchor, a point where you can fix a new reality into place. It's an altar for triumphant reign, a place of coronation. And finally, it's the intersection of the void, a nexus point of infinite potential and absolute nothingness. Each of these layers just adds to its cosmic weight. And the whole purpose of getting to this nexus? To carve the rune of righteous sin into time itself. That phrase is just a perfect summary of this whole philosophy. A sin that, according to this new doctrine, is actually righteous. The goal is to commit an act of heresy so profound that it becomes a permanent, foundational law of the universe. But of course, just showing up isn't the end of it. There's a final trial to lock in this transformation, a way to harden this new will into a law as unbreakable as iron. And that is the test of the void. The text even asks this question itself, and it just builds the tension perfectly. It's basically admitting that this final test is an encounter with the ultimate form of what the old world would call heresy. It's the final boss battle, so to speak. So the test unfolds in 4 stages, but they're philosophical, internal battles. First, you have to encounter the mirror of the void. You have to stare into nothingness. Second, you scorn the narrow maps of the old world, a final, total rejection of past limitations. Third, you harden that inner beacon, your synthesis, into a permanent law. And finally, you conclude the prologue of the city. You close the book on the old story for good.
And this is absolutely crucial. The outcome isn't about winning in a traditional sense. It's about permanence. The result is an abiding and heavy march, something that can't be stopped, can't be changed, can't be resisted. It's the creation of an absolute.
And that brings us to our final section, the result of this whole epic dark pilgrimage. What does this new world order even look like? The text calls it an ever-modern reign, the dominion of the web.
The text ends with this incredibly powerful metaphor, and we're going to build it piece by piece. So first, the tarantula is the walker. The person who's completed this journey, this new, transformed being, is now a predator. Next up, the road is the silk. That whole journey wasn't just a path from A to B. It was the raw material being used to build something, a structure, a trap.
And finally, the crossroads are the knot. This is the anchor point, that nexus of power that holds the entire structure together. It's the central point from which all the silk radiates out.
And here it is, the big reveal. The world itself has been remade into this structure. The quote says it right there. The world is now a global and intricate web. The journey wasn't just for personal transformation. It was an act of cosmic engineering, reshaping reality itself into a predatory design.
And this is the final paradox. After this insane journey, this final test, this grand transformation, you'd think it's the end, but it's not. The first sentence of the adventure is spoken. Everything that came before, that was just the prologue. The real journey toward the absolute dark has only now truly begun.
Which leaves us with this final, really unsettling thought to chew on. The journey is done, the will is anchored, a new world order is in place, but what becomes of a world that's built on a rune of righteous sin? What does it actually mean to live inside a web when you know the weaver is a tarantula?